Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to the Friday Night Smackdown post show. Speak Now Pro Wrestling, November 29th, Black Friday. It is Denise Salcedo and Robin Lundberg here. Robin, first and foremost, did you have a nice Thanksgiving?
I did. I mean, it was a jaunt. I went from Jersey down to Maryland and back, all in the span of a day and a half, more or less. But caught some fam, said hello, ate some food, and then feasted on CM Punk and Roman Reigns.
All right, that's the perfect. I think that was probably the best thing you had then all weekend. No, but it's honestly, I hope everyone had a very nice Thanksgiving. I'm in lazy mode already. You know, when it comes to like the holidays and you just want to like lay down and do nothing. That's what I'm in the mood for right now. But I'm like, I gotta work every day. The pro wrestling does not stop. The news keeps on coming. So here we are. And then tomorrow is Survivor Series War Games. I will be here doing a watch along. And then immediately afterwards, I'm going to be joined by Robin to do the post show. So it's going to be a good time. But I got to tell you, even though I'm feeling lazy, even though I feel like laying down and doing nothing, Robin, SmackDown delivered tonight, especially with our first topic of the day. We're going to get right into it. CM Punk, Roman Reigns, they had a sit down here that I think is getting us wondering, what is this going to look like? Because I think for the most part, all of us here, anybody here with the brain realize they're going to do CM Punk Roman Reigns at some point because that is a huge, huge money match. Like I can see it already. You know, you got, I would say, heel CM Punk versus babyface Roman Reigns, Robin, is what I'm signing up for. I don't know if it's going to happen at WrestleMania. I don't know if it's going to happen at SummerSlam, but it's going to happen at some point in 2025. And today, we got that tease. So I want to start there, Robin. What did you think of the sit down with Roman and Punk?
Well, I think the style of it was very reminiscent of the Cody Rhodes Roman Reigns thing that they did on the football field in Georgia. But this almost felt more organic to me because it was weaved into the storyline and within the arena, like not this like, all right, we're meeting here because we need to, square out our business. And I've said it to you before, Denise, but I really believe this. I think Roman Reigns and CM Punk is the most money feud in pro wrestling right now. There's just a certain palpable energy and edge to both guys.
Attitude. They both got attitude.
Exactly. And then with Paul Heyman being the wild card there, the wild card wise man, I like the idea of Heyman siding with Punk, double crossing Roman Reigns, and then seeing how Roman Reigns responds to not having that at his side. Because that's a different side of him than we've seen before. I think that has the most juice of any of the potential ways they could go. But regardless, you can just tell. I mean, it was there right away. Proof was in the pudding, if you will, where you put those two guys down, you put a camera there, you film, and you let them go to work because the dynamics were great to watch.
Dude, no, they really were. And that was the big thing that I was going to ask you because I feel the exact same way that you do in that Paul Heyman absolutely needs to turn on Roman Reigns. And here's like the big thing because there was a lot and it was a very quick sit down. It wasn't as long as the one that they did with Cody. But again, like Robin mentioned, sort of shot in a similar way, but a much shorter, compact version of that. But when there, oh my gosh, there was a bunch. So first of all, the big one though, it's the favor. So the whole gist of this is that Roman Reigns does not want CM Punk to be the fifth guy for the War Games. However, Paul Heyman said it's kind of in the benefit for both of you guys because for one, Roman, we need CM Punk here. We're stronger with CM Punk. And Punk, if you're not in this, the bloodline is going to come after you. And so Paul basically said, we're better together, unified. So then CM Punk was like, all right, one time, one favor. And Roman was sort of appalled by that. Like, I owe you a favor. And CM Punk is like, no, our wise man, Paul Heyman, owes me a favor. And so now with that favor, Robin, I think we can sort of allude to maybe that favor being Paul Heyman aligning with CM Punk because Paul Heyman did not tell Roman what that favor was, even when Roman asked what that favor would be. And I was thinking like the other option is like, oh, okay, maybe if Roman Reigns becomes champion again. He gives CM Punk a title shot. Cool, but that doesn't really make sense considering that Roman doesn't have the title right now. So I think that favor is Paul Heyman aligning with CM Punk. Or do you think the favor is something else?
No, I mean, that's a good theory. I'm guessing what's the quid pro quo here? Punk joins the Bloodline team in exchange for Paul Heyman's favor, right? And the fact that Heyman wouldn't reveal it is one, to create suspense for us, but also to give us that inclination that it's not exactly something favorable for Roman Reigns, right? So is that paid off right at the end of the match at War Games, or is this something that draws on a little bit more? But eventually, yes, I think it is. Whether that's the direct favor, if you will, that is what's going to happen as a result of all of this taking place in the first place, is Paul Heyman and CM Punk back together. And you notice the word choice from Punk, too. He said, our wise man, right? And, Roman's not the kind of guy to take that very well. He's very narcissistic, very selfish, very manipulative. And the idea that Paul Heyman would be anyone else's wise man but his, I'm not sharing no wise man. It's like a kid. Kids don't like to share anything.
Yeah.
I'm always with my kids like, come on, the ice cream is too big for you. Just share it with your brother or sister so I don't have to buy free ice cream.
You swear.
And Roman needs his own wise man.
No, and it was so funny because I had the exact same thought when he said it. When CM Punk said our wise man, I was like, oh, you swear Roman Reigns ain't going to want to share with you. Like, this is not going to happen. So there was a lot of different like little things that they did. That was one of them. The other one that they did was right in the beginning. CM Punk was late to this meeting with Roman Reigns. Think about that. Roman Reigns is the big shot, right? Roman Reigns is the head of the table, the tribal chief. He's the one that walks in late, right? He's the one that makes the fashionable entrance. He's not the one to be sitting there waiting for someone else. So CM Punk, by not showing up on time, basically disrespected Roman Reigns and made him look smaller by wasting his time and then showing up and being like, I don't got much time. And then on top of that, he left first. So CM Punk was being a punk to Roman Reigns in cordial manners, Robin. I think if anybody here went through what Roman did, where someone showed up to a meeting late, then told you they didn't have enough time, and then walked the hell out, I would be pissed. I would be like, I'm never doing business with this inappropriate a-hole ever again. That's how I would feel. So I thought that CM Punk behaving that way with Roman, I kind of felt like that was him basically saying, like, you're not going to intimidate me. You're not going to stand above me the way that you do Sammy or Jimmy or Jay. We're not like that. I'm not going to stand 5 steps behind you. I'm going to stand either right next to you or right in front of you. Like, that was sort of like the behavior that I got from CM Punk based off of just him showing up late.
And you remember there's a little bit, I don't know if it's heat might be too strong a word, but there was some stuff between Roman and Punk off screen during Punk's time in AEW, and Roman saying, yeah, there's only really one needle mover in pro wrestling and the like. And Punk, it's not exactly as if he doesn't have the reputation of being kind of an asshole. So when you lean into that there, I think it works on several levels, right? It works against Roman's character because we've seen so much of this, and I'll give Cody Rhodes some credit here, where it was the chief without a tribe line or whatever, we're seeing that in so many ways where Roman doesn't have the title, which he had for so long. Then he had to sort of eat crow or swallow his pride to bring the rest of the bloodline back together. He needed to call the wise man because the wise man wasn't there. Now they have to go get help from CM Punk, who he really doesn't want to have help from, begrudgingly. If then Punk takes the wise man from him, what does Roman have left? He is kind of for someone who likes to be in control and manipulate the situation, he's the one that will then have to dig himself out of it. And I think that's what makes it compelling for his character, because it's a different perspective for him to approach things from.
Yeah, that's why I definitely see him as a babyface with Paul Heyman essentially screwing up and aligning with CM Punk. Like, that's what I want down the line at some point. And then, oh my God, I'm so glad that you mentioned the needle mover thing because I had forgotten until right now when you mentioned it. It like all came back to me. All of a sudden, I saw the Roman Reigns needle mover shirt. Do you remember like the needle mover shirt?
I have it. Yeah.
You have it?
Yeah.
No, so like right away, like I had completely forgotten about that. But God, it really, really took me back to the time where it was like, CM Punk this with the AEW ratings, like right when CM Punk went to AEW. God, isn't it crazy that that wasn't even that long ago, Robin, but it feels like 20 years ago. What the hell?
Yeah, the way time moves. I mean, really, he's only been in WWE a year, right? Like almost on the dot. So it does feel like much, a longer time than that. But I remember when if you recall the whole Young Bucks showing the video thing that happened the week after WrestleMania. That they teased that I think the day of night 2, because I think I've told you this story before, but when I was there, and this just shows you how like wide WWE's audience can be, because I was sitting next to this woman, this couple, and she was ready for Punk because he opened night 2 coming out, and she was a fan. She claimed to be a fan, and I asked her what she thought of them gonna show the video, and she didn't know what that was. Like she had no concept of CM Punk being there, which was like almost blows your mind sometimes when you're in it so much. Like you like, how could you not know that? But then you realize some of the people aren't as quite as plugged in, but CM Punk's presence from WWE even back then left a mark. So that's more a commentary, I think, on him, regardless whether it was AEW, WWE, her awareness or not. He can leave that impression where he can be gone. From her perspective, he was gone for what, 11, 13 years?
Yeah. There's a lot of people like that. No, there is. And you see it all the time. And sometimes you forget because like it's the same thing. I relate to you in that way, Robin, because all of us, and I'm guessing most of the chat and everybody here is so invested in the pro wrestling world that we know everything about everything that's going on. I mean, raise up your hand here in the chat. Honestly, honest question. Robin, you can raise up your hand too. Put the chat raising hand emoji if you check the pro wrestling news every single day. Okay, same. I check it like 100 times per day. But there's
I was like,
right.
It is a necessity for you to change
even before I was like, doing this job, I would still check the pro wrestling news and see, hey, what is going on? Mm-hmm. And it's just the thing that you get used to, and it just becomes like a daily habit. And so, but there is a lot of people that are not really like in the loop like that. And I kind of like sometimes it blows my mind because I'm just like, what the hell? Like, everything else that's going on in like the WWE universe, but not everything else that's going on outside of it. It's so wild. But no, we got a lot of people here that are throwing up their hands here because everyone checks the wrestling news every single day. So yeah, sometimes it's hard for us to imagine that some people may be a little bit out of the loop.
Well, and it was so tailor-made for the internet because I like to tell this to people who don't have any clue, because I was talking about last night, I was talking about the Vince McMahon documentary to some people who had no idea about pro wrestling. I was like, you should just watch it. You'll like it. And you might like it more almost because you have no idea about, pro wrestling. But I always say this about the documentaries. Like, I think it's my favorite documentary subject because there is nothing like it, right? It is so uniquely its own for the, the political reasons, the performance reasons, the actual athletic reasons that aren't legitimate reasons, like all these various things that get thrown into this one mixer, the territorial reasons. But when you're talking about even the rumors and the internet news, I remember, Denise, and this is probably predates you, but it's really just a different version of what it is now. I remember dial-up, and I remember going, and it was like, and I would go to these sites like, I think one was like 411 Mania or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's still around. Yeah,
okay.
It's still around.
And they had the message boards, and I would go to the message boards and read all the wrestling rumors. And it's actually just coming to me now that like that's exactly what's happening when you're on your Xtreme or your whatever account you choose to follow or subscription you choose to pay for, whether it's Fightful or Meltzer or whoever it is that you're tuning in for. It's just the modern version of that, and it lends itself to that. So fans get fed and they're constantly eating. but the ones who parachute in aren't seeing all those morsels of food on the ground from 30,000 feet in the air.
Yes. It's so wild how like the internet just shapes all of this stuff. But let's go ahead and get into our super chats and see what everyone is saying in regards to all of this. We get started here with Kevin Zwicker. Thank you so much to Kevin, who says, is Roman versus Punk the biggest non-Rock match in WWE that they can do? I gotta say yes, Kevin, because I mean, there's so much money. Like Robin, you said it. I think you captured the essence of Roman Reigns and CM Punk is that they have that edge. Is that these two guys are legitimate freaking stars, like legit stars. And they both have such hardcore fan bases that when this does implode officially, like when we do get to that build, whether it happens for WrestleMania, whether it happens for SummerSlam, you are going to have very, very passionate fans siding with Roman, siding with CM Punk. And this is one where it's like, I know who Roman Reigns is. I know who CM Punk is. It doesn't matter who you are. You're going to know these guys and you're going to be interested.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could even be bigger than any match with Rock. Maybe not in the sense of just...
I would say Rock Roman still feels really huge, like very, very huge.
But I don't know if it has the same... Does it have the same edge as Punk and Roman? Like,
not the same edge, but it has, I don't know what the right word is. It just has the glamour, right?
Well, anything with The Rock. Anything with The Rock is going to be bigger from a, just general press standpoint.
Yes, like mainstream, yes.
So it's like Empire State of Mind was a huge, massive Jay-Z hit. New York, right? Like that, right? But so was PSA, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Hope. And Punk and Roman feels like PSA to Rock and Roman's Empire State of Mind, if that makes sense.
No, I 100% get. I 100% get it. It's like the song that becomes the single that everybody knows and hears on the radio. But then there's that other song on the album that the true hardcore fans are like, this is the fucking song.
And then it gets so popular that it's also a single forever, right? Like, and it's even if it was never released as a single, it serves as a single.
Yes, and I feel like every fandom, no matter who you're a fan of, no matter who you stand, you got an example of that. So yes, that's kind of how I see it. And Kevin, I do think that this is one of their biggest possible matches that they can legitimately do. We got Sheldon Jackson here who gifted 5 DWO memberships. Sheldon, thank you so freaking much. We got Bailey Darley here who says, my prediction is CM Punk and Paul Heyman join together. Well, Bailey, I honestly got to say, I think that Robin and I both agree with you on that one.
No doubt. I mean, it feels like the natural. I mean, it doesn't make sense going the other way, right? Does it? Like Paul Heyman.
Because then it would feel like, why tell this story? Why tell this story? In order to tell a full, thorough story, you got to have Paul Heyman side with CM Punk. And there's going to be layers to this, right? Because let's say that is the favor, right? That is the favor. Paul to align with CM Punk. In a way, it's almost like if Paul Heyman did it still for Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns was the one that needed it at this time. He's the one who needed that 5th member of War Games to, defeat this new bloodline. So yeah, it's got layers. Bailey Darley also says, remember what Paul Heyman said to Punk last time? No. What part are we talking about? Robin, do you remember?
What Paul Heyman said to Punk last time? Did they even talk? I thought he came out and he gestured for... I don't remember them speaking last week.
Unless it was before that, like way before that. If it was way before that, Bailey, you're going to have to let me know in the comments here because I don't remember. So let us know. But we got Terrence Johnson here who says, I saw on social media people noticed that Paul Heyman winked at Jey Uso and thought that was suspicious. There's a lot about Paul Heyman lately that's been looking suspicious. We were talking just last week when he came out and he had the little red handkerchief. That looks suspicious. I mentioned to me what looks suspicious about Paul Heyman was just his overall face, like his reaction. I couldn't decide from his look whether or not I could trust the guy. And then even today when he was sitting there between Roman and CM Punk, I didn't feel, okay, for example, when you're sitting next to when you're seeing someone and you can tell who someone's loyalty lies with, and it's obvious, right? You know that person's loyalty lies with this person. When I was looking at Paul in between CM Punk and Roman Reigns, I didn't feel like I could tell who his loyalty legitimately went with. Did it go with Punk? Did it go with Roman? And when CM Punk kept saying, oh, I'm not here for you, I'm here for my friend Paul Heyman, every single time you would see this cute little smirk on Paul Heyman's face. This little smirk, he would do it. And it was so funny because I don't know if you saw this, Robin, but Paul Heyman Roman Reigns recently did an interview with SI, and he said something along the lines of how during WrestleMania 40, where there was all those changes with Cody Rhodes and The Rock and all of this, he wasn't upset because he felt like the hot chick. He was like, I'm the hot chick. I'm the one everybody wants to take out, blah, 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 right? And it was funny because I had that in my mind as I was watching this CM Punk Roman sit down. And every time CM Punk would say, oh, I'm doing this to help out my friend, Paul Heyman, it felt like Paul Heyman was the hot chick now, where both Roman and CM Punk are here trying to fight for him, considering what the new bloodline did to Paul Heyman.
Well, and then you also have to remember that Paul Heyman is a master of this business, right? He has been in it in every almost role other than in ring, really, capacity through a long career. So I don't even know if I take anything he's doing as intentional. Like when he wants it to be intentional, it's going to be there and he's going to get that across. Don't get me wrong. But he might just be also doing some of this stuff because he knows you and I will then start talking about it, or Joe Fan will start talking about it, right? When it doesn't actually mean anything. So I think some of it is very purposeful, and then some of it is just very performative from Paul Heyman.
I think so too. This is some good points. All right. Thank you so much to Terrence Johnson for pointing this out. We got Toby here who says, this year, I'm thankful for my tribal chief. I love it. Toby, thank you so much for the super chat. We got Anthony Giuliano here who says, Robin, do you like MLB baseball?
I'll put it this way. Obviously, I covered general sports for a long time, so I am well-versed enough to speak on MLB baseball, but if I'm being honest, and I do not lie to the audience, it is certainly not my favorite sport.
What's your top three, like your top three rankings, like the one you're most passionate about?
Basketball's number one for sure. I mean, does wrestling get the count?
I mean, sure, why not? I guess it depends on who you ask, because if you tell some people, oh, wrestling is a sport, some people get offended by that.
Yeah, well, because it's not really a sport.
Right, because it's the points.
Yeah. So are we doing sports?
That's up to you, Robin. It's up to you.
It would be basketball, wrestling, and football would be the three that I came up the most on. But basketball far and away ahead of everything. I think my thing with baseball is I didn't play it growing up, and my dad wasn't into it. So when your dad's not into baseball, it's a little harder because it's not as instantly accessible to your eyes from a pace standpoint. So I played. And if we're just talking sports overall, I would say basketball, football, and soccer, because I played soccer growing up.
Oh, okay. See, I liked baseball. Like back in the day, I used to watch a lot of baseball with my husband. So, because he's a big sports fan. Like I always tell him, like, you're a sports addict. And he's like, I'm not a sports addict. And I'm like, that's what an addict would say. You are a sports addict. But I used to watch baseball with him. So I kind of watch a little bit of everything, but only because he watches it. And sometimes it's a trap. I just fall into it.
But I did sports talk in New York, so I talked hours and hours and hours of Yankees and Mets. Like, so I am not well versed in it, I mean, I can talk about anything. It's just the truth. It might be it's not a humble brag. It's the opposite of a humble brag. It's just a brag, but it's the truth.
We got Anthony Giuliano who says, Denise, I saw your post about The Rock asking Taylor Swift for tickets. LOL. A lot of people were really upset by that, by the way. They were like, The Rock can afford his own tickets, which he can. Let's be real. He can. But it's just how it is, right? Like all celebrities, they give other celebrities free tickets.
I didn't see it. Was it a joke, though? Like, maybe it was just a joke also. Like,
no, he was asked about it. An interviewer from Entertainment Tonight asked him about something. There was a correlation between Taylor Swift and Moana. And so he had talked about that. And that led into him saying like that he's a big fan of Taylor, which we've known already. He's spoken very highly of her. And then they also collaborated when she did her music video, The Man. But The Rock basically said like, oh yeah, I asked Taylor for tickets and she hooked me up. And, I guess he took his kids, blah, 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 or is going to take his kids, something like that. And I posted that and people were really upset that Taylor gave The Rock free tickets because he can afford it. But I'm like, that's how it is for all celebrities, though. They give their friends tickets. And I don't think celebrities, like big celebrities, pay to go to certain concerts, especially if they are friends with the artist.
But that's, that's one of the advantages of being a very big and rich celebrity is not only you don't have to pay for anything, including taxes. Like, you don't have to pay anything.
It's so sad. We get stuck paying for everything. It's terrible. But we got Anthony Giuliano here who says, I was a fan of Roman Reigns when no one liked Roman Reigns, when no one accepted him back in 2015 with the Royal Rumble. I wasn't. Unfortunately, I was that person that used to love to boo Roman Reigns because during that time, it really just felt like Vince was trying to shove Roman Reigns down our throats. And that's why the fans weren't on his side. But then again, things changed. Things really changed for Roman Reigns. So good for him. But yes, there was that time where people were not Roman Reigns fans. Were you that person or not?
Oh, 100% that person. Not Roman Reigns fan. I thought he sucked. And now I'm like one of his biggest fans. But it was similar to The Rock. I mean, it's very similar to the Rocky Maivia thing. Like, in a way, Rocky Maivia came in. I remember Rocky Maivia coming in. I remember Die Rocky Die signs and all that stuff. And he was the blue chipper. I think it might even been Vince on the commentary at that point. The blue chipper, Rocky Maivia. His dad was the wrestler and his grandpa was the wrestler. And here he came. You can't miss Prospect. The Rocky Maivia. And no one, he just was lame. Everything about him was lame. Yeah. And it didn't work. It didn't work. But clearly, whatever they saw in him to make him Rocky Maivia was actually there. It just needed the switch to be flipped, because as soon as he joined the Nation of Domination and the Rock persona came out, and the same thing happened with Roman Reigns, where it was the big dog and everybody's like, come on, like, he's the preordained pick champion, he's lame, suffering succotash, like, he can't cut a pro, he sucks. But then as soon as the tribal chief switch was flipped, you saw it. So it was there, with a lot of these guys, it's there the whole time. You just have to find the right presentation. And they're two of the best examples in history. I mean, there's other examples that aren't quite as parallel to that, like Ringmaster or Stunning Steve Austin to Stone Cold Steve Austin, or Mean Mark Calloway to The Undertaker, like all these different. But I think those two are very, very similar, not only in, their bloodline, but just the way that it transpired for each.
Yeah, I agree on that one, man. I mean, God, when you think about, like, for example, like, you think about just when you think about this stuff and you think about where certain people were at beforehand, like you mentioned Austin, you mentioned Roman, we mentioned, to think about where they were at one point and what they ended up becoming, you're just like, oh, thank God, so thankful that ended up happening. And it makes you wonder, like, who else down the line is that going to happen with? Like, I think about it for like young up and coming people who I'm like, okay, like maybe we don't see it now, but at some point this person could end up becoming like a big giant, huge superstar. And I think that's kind of cool, because I like it when something just like happens like that, right? Where all of a sudden there's this big change and people are into it. And God, I used to hate the big dog every single time. I still remember Michael Cohen commentary, the big dog, the big dog. Oh, it used to drive me so crazy. But Anthony Giuliano, I'm glad that you were on the Roman Reigns but his bandwagon before it became
I guess it wasn't a bandwagon.
Yeah. You were on the wagon.
He was driving the Roman Reigns bandwagon. I guess you can give him that.
Yeah. Ryan Adams says CM Punk beating Roman in a match and CM Punk bragging about it to Seth. My God, the bragging rights. Yeah, hey, you got some good points there, but who knows, man? I mean, right now it feels like we are closer to a Roman CM Punk match than a Roman Seth Rollins match, but those are two that I think are happening on the horizon for 2025. Thank you so much, Ryan. We got Anthony Giuliano. He says, no one liked John Cena chanting he can't wrestle, and now everyone loves John Cena. Oh, yeah, I was anti-John Cena. I was not a John Cena fan, but I wasn't a John Cena fan for like the simplest reason, and in that I always wanted to cheer for people that weren't popular with kids. Like, I didn't want to be the person, like, even though I was a kid, I didn't want to root for wrestlers that were popular for kids because I always thought that I was like better than all the other little kids.
Yeah. Cooler and edgier or more
Yeah.
mature. Yeah.
I don't know why. But Anthony, thank you so much for the super chat, man. All right, so let's go ahead and keep it going because we got some other topics to get into. The next topic I do want to touch on here is let's actually get into the women's US tournament here because that one has kind of some interesting stuff here. So this is the upgraded bracket, and we ended up getting Lash Legend Robin, who we had talked about a whole lot here on the show. We even talked about her possibly being the one to replace Jade Cargill. And for a second, during this match with her and Michin and Piper, I thought for a second we might actually see Lash Legend win. And she did really good. She even had some really close near falls, but it ended up being Michin that took this all the way. So congratulations to Michin because she has been doing a very, very good job. Like I had said this before, but 2024, was the year of Michin. How did you feel about this tournament? And now seeing where we're at on the bracket here, there's only one more spot to be filled. Who do you think that last spot will be? And do you feel like we're getting closer to knowing who you feel might actually become U.S. Women's Champion?
Yeah, I mean, I think Naomi is going to be that last spot there. And I can see it going. I like the Chelsea Green pick that you've been with the whole time, and I think that's a good outcome. But then also seeing that bracket, a lot of me thinks you could see Bayley and Naomi in the final as well, just because of the familiarity and everything that goes along with that. I did like the match. I did like, again, Lash Legend looked really strong. I mean, to do that move to Piper Niven, take something, and then Michin steals the win. So it was a good finish there. But yeah, I think Chelsea Green makes a lot of sense, and so does Naomi. One of those two is my pick to win it all.
Well, since we're on the topic of Naomi, I might as well get to this right now, too, because we also had the women that are all going to be part of War Games. We had them sort of kick off the show here, and we ended up seeing everybody. Like, everybody was out there. But the reason why I want to talk about Naomi is because there was a part in this promo where Bianca said to Naomi, you and I, she told Naomi, you and I know that one of these girls took out Jade. And in that little sentence that Bianca said, it made me feel like, why would she just assume that Naomi knew too? That Naomi wasn't the one who went and did this. So it made me feel like Naomi might be the one that took out Jade, because I could see this. I'm like, all right, I can see this. First of all, I want to see Naomi have like a real important story, right? We've talked about that. But also, Naomi was part of this trio with Bianca and with Jade. So maybe they can tell a story of jealousy where it was really just about Bianca and Jade. Well, what about me? What about Naomi? I feel like they could do something like that. And in just that little sentence right there, it made me feel like it's going to be Naomi.
Yeah, and it's two like parallel tracks, right? Because what you just said is spot on. And it is also representative of Naomi's entire career and tenure. So it's like, what about me? Yeah, Bianca and Jade plus Naomi. And then on top of that, she's been around for a long time. She left under the conditions that she left under. So there's a little bit of real life to that. And then she's back and she's just kind of there again. Like, everybody likes her, but she's just kind of there again. Like, what's the real opportunity for her? So I could see that bitterness and jealousy cocktail being mixed up, which makes her a much more interesting character, to be honest. I mean, she needs that again, that switch to flip, because you see it with her. She's got everything, but you've never really felt it. So I think, you want to feel it.
I think so too. And if you notice also today, I think she was like one of the first ones to talk, and she just sounded angrier and meaner, not like in a bad way because she's still a baby face, but just like a little bit more edge there to Naomi while still keeping her baby face style. But I don't know, something about it just felt different. But anyways, we ended up getting the heels coming out, and it's basically just mind games, right? It's them basically pointing out that, hey, we got all of our baby faces here. A lot of them don't even get along. They're trying to stir the pot. And that's really what we got during this back and forth. So not really much else to say other than, hey, they brawled. It was cool. I'm looking forward to women's war games. But Robin, was there anything else that stood out to you besides the Naomi stuff?
No, I mean, I think that's a good catch on your part. And the work, you have the built-in stuff. I mean, you have Rhea and Liv and the call out at the beginning there. So that heat's already built. The Dom thing that's been going on for a minute. But I do think they've got several simultaneous sort of quasi mystery angles going, and those are working because you add the Heyman one at the end to the Jade one, and the Jade one's caused quite a stir. I saw today it was like 17 different scenarios were thrown out there as far as what could be real or not real, or actually injured or not injured or whatnot. I think it seems perfect for storyline. So I'm liking the way you're setting it up.
We got Corey MacArthur here. Thank you so much, Corey, for this generous super chat. Corey says, hello, Denise, and hello, Robin. How was your Thanksgiving? My tribal chief, Roman Reigns, was in his bag tonight, and so was CM Punk, an epic main event whenever it is booked. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that was our first topic of the day for a specific reason, because it is money, man. And when the time comes, when we're sitting here talking about the CM Punk Roman Reigns feud, it's going to be huge. But as for Thanksgiving, I had a lovely time. Went to my aunt's house. They always cook very delicious food. It was so fun just to be there with the kids and just everybody. It was very, very nice and a very relaxing day. And then today I did some Black Friday shopping. I went to Target. I went to go get myself my Taylor Swift Eras book. I was very happy. Got that. Got the anthology vinyl as well. And then I went to Michael's and I did some Christmas shopping. So yeah, I was all over the place today, Robin. What about you?
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever been Black Friday shopping.
I do mostly like virtually online,
Yeah,
but today I went primarily for the Taylor Swift book.
I guess it's like with the way like people spam you with promos and stuff all the time online. I don't know if I can tell the difference between Black Friday and every other day.
That's the secret, right? Yeah. I was just saying today, the secret to Black Friday shopping, because a lot of sales, they're scams, guys. Like, they're scamming people. And I know this because I worked in retail for like 10 years, where a lot of these sales really aren't sales. So the secret is whatever products or brands you're into or whatever you're interested in buying, know the price and know what the prices are like throughout the year, so that when they do go on sale, you'll know whether or not it's a legit sale or not. That's how you know. That's the only way.
Yeah, because I mean, to talk about WWE does it every day. Like, they send me a thing like 35% your last chance, and then tomorrow it's the same thing.
Your last chance today. Oh, you get another last chance tomorrow. No, they do. WWE Shop does daily deals, right?
Okay.
And they give you like 12 hours or whatever to like purchase at a certain price, and then they change every single day. But get this, there was times where I was like, oh man, this is the daily deal for today. Oh, this is such a good price. And then I missed it, and I'm like, fudge, I missed the daily deal. And then I go the next day and it's still offering me the sale price. And I'm like, wait, what? This is the daily deal price from yesterday.
A daily double deal.
Yeah, but you just got to keep your eye on all that stuff. Thank you so much, Corey. We got Terrence Johnson here who says, Vince couldn't make up his mind. He told you to grab the brass ring, but yet when you get your, selfie, you get punished. Oh, wait, I don't get this one, Terrence. What are we talking about? Vince
McMahon?
Vince couldn't make up his mind. He told you grab the brass ring, but yet when you get your selfies, you get punished. When you get your... Oh, Terrence, you're going to have to explain to that one in the... Oh, okay, here we go. He red sent it. Thank you, Terrence. Very kind of you. He says, Vince couldn't make up his mind. He told you to grab the brass ring, but yet when you did, you got punished. Oh, I think that's what he was talking about, the last thing that...
What brass ring?
I'm blanking on this one. Sorry, Terrence. You're going to have to... Someone here in our live chat can remind us here, because I'm blanking on this one. Don't worry. We'll come back to it. All right. We got Anthony Giuliano here who says, fun fact, I'm sure you noticed I'm a big fan of powerhouse wrestler like John Cena, Roman Reigns, Ryback, Braun Breaker, Batista, Bianca is a powerhouse. I love powerhouse wrestlers too. Robin, did you want to say something about the...
Yeah, I think I found it on Reddit. Okay. I guess it's... to my understanding, the brass ring means that Vince wants his superstars to reach out and take their own initiatives in becoming popular.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. Now, Terrence, thank you so much for sending that in. It's weird, right? Because in a sense, yes, but in a sense, there's also been wrestlers who have gotten punished for getting over when they weren't supposed to get over.
Have they, like, I felt like it was the thing that became controversial is when they were getting over outside of the product. Like,
That too, yes.
that was who got punished for getting
Like
over inside?
Nikki and Brie have spoken out about that a whole lot, where they had said, like, one time Vince McMahon, and I don't remember which interview they said this in, and I'm paraphrasing, but they had said somewhere in some interview or podcast, they said that they would get in trouble all the time for getting over because of the Total Diva stuff when they weren't supposed to be getting over, and that they would be constantly getting yelled at. So that's just like one that I remember off the top of my head. But yeah, there's been several instances like that. Terrence Johnson, thank you so much for the super chat. We got Anthony Giuliano here who says, oh, I already read this one. I'm sorry, Anthony. We got Malcolm Kobe. Thank you so much to Malcolm Kobe, who says, I'm thinking it is Naomi as well. She got Lash and Jakara to help and form her own big three where she's the leader and not the third wheel. See, that's important. I think Naomi could be like, I'm done being the third wheel.
That's good. I like that. I like that. That's it. We're done.
Because okay, like they teamed at WrestleMania, right? All three of them. But who were the ones that ended up going off to become tag team champions? It was Jade and Bianca. So maybe there's some jealousy there.
And they were the ones who were sold and promoted and have done everything. Yes, I mean, there's truth to it for sure.
There definitely is. All right, we got Stephen Marchuli. Thank you, Malcolm Kobe, by the way. We got Stephen Marchuli here who says it will be revealed Bianca took out Jade. Bianca left the match as a cover. She could just win the title in a one-on-one match. So I kind of ran this theory down and why I don't think it's Bianca, because Bianca would have essentially screwed herself out of becoming the inaugural United States Women's Champion. So I don't think it was in Bianca's best benefit to do that. So that's why I don't think it was Bianca.
Yeah, and it almost feels, I don't know. I don't want the Bianca Jade thing to happen off screen. I want that to happen on screen, unless they have like some real creative way to show us that was the case. I like the Naomi theory better now, and then we get to the Bianca and Jade down the road. Personally,
Mr. Acosta says Roman Punk's segment was like from the scene Heat. I haven't seen that. Heat, is that the one with Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy? Oh, is that not the one with Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy?
No. Heat is like
that one. What is that movie called? Why am
I honestly don't have any idea what you're talking about. Oh,
I remember it's like an orange cover, and they're both in the cover like that, like doing some action thing.
Heat is Robert De Niro and Al Pacino.
Why am I thinking of Sandra Bullock?
Melissa McCarthy and who?
And Sandra Bullock, right? They did a movie, didn't they?
The Heat. Okay, so it was called The Heat. It's just that's not a popular movie that many people saw.
But hold on, which one's The Heat?
The Heat. Yes, you are right. So like
it is Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy.
It is. I give you full points.
I've never seen the movie. I just remembered the cover for whatever reason.
Because it was, it was like kind of on a pink backdrop. It looks like here, but yes, but it is not the more well-known movie of those. So I am almost positive he's referring to the vehicle starring Robert De Niro. And
I'm pretty sure you are, Mr. Acosta. Isn't that weird? Like, why would I remember this random ass movie that I didn't even watch? All right. Terrence Johnson. Thank you, Mr. Acosta. Terrence Johnson says Vince can make, I already read this one. I'm sorry. This is from Sleaze Boy, who says, rate my unethical booking. Tiffany Stratton and Liv Morgan start feuding. Tiffany plays mind games by hitting on Dom, and Liv starts hitting Dom. Dom starts wearing Ray's mask and hides bruises and black eyes. Sleaze Boy, I was with you until about like halfway. Okay, Liv Morgan, Tiffany Stratton going after Dom, that could be kind of funny. And Liv being jealous, okay, that could be kind of funny. But I don't think it would send the right message to have a Liv Morgan beating up on Dom, because, it's just being domestic violence and it's not good in either direction.
Yeah. Him wearing Ray's mask is a good troll, but
I was with you halfway, Sleaze Boy. Halfway, and then you lost me. But if you have a different angle.
He did say unethical at the top.
He did say unethical. Yeah, he's right. Sleaze Boy knew what he was doing. Thank you so much for the super chat.
And he's also Sleaze Boy, so I don't think you can think you're coming with the cleanness off rip.
Anthony Giuliano says, is there a real life heat between Bianca and Jade? I keep seeing reports about it. Can you collaborate more on this topic? Well, look, honestly, when it comes to stuff like that, I don't want to say yes because I don't know. I legitimately do not know. I feel like those types of situations, especially I feel sometimes when it comes to women, people just automatically assume that they got heat with each other. Unless something legitimately and concrete comes out, I'm going to say no until something legit comes out. But as of right now, it seems like it's just rumor and speculation.
So when I was at FanFest, I watched a panel of Jade, Bianca, and Jey Uso because my son loves Jey Uso. So we went to the Jey Uso panel, but he did it alongside Jade and Bianca. Now, of course, they're in a sense performing for the fans there too, but Jade credited Bianca for a ton of, getting her acclimated to WWE and the lifestyle and getting ready and all that stuff. So it sounded like she was genuinely appreciative of that experience and that tutelage. So, unless there is some reason to actually believe that, I wouldn't believe it, because what are we basing it off of other than random stuff? Has there been a credible report?
Not that I've seen.
I don't think I've seen a real report. So at this point, that's complete gossip.
Right. And I think sometimes, like, even stuff like that, like, let's just say there's like a situation where it's career jealousy, that's totally different. And I think that does happen very often amongst a lot of talent. But I don't know if there's any real beef between Jade and Bianca. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and keep going because I do want to get into some of these other topics from SmackDown. Let's get into Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes and Carmelo Hayes. I'll just tie this all in together. So Cody Rhodes defeats Carmelo Hayes in a pretty decent match, hits him with Cody Cutter as well as the Crossroads, gets the win. But we did get a Kevin Owens promo that was essentially a video package where he brought up different things that Roman Reigns had done to him in the past, throwing him off a scaffold, having the entire bloodline attack him at Royal Rumble, moments like that. And him pointing out that actually that year, Cody Rhodes was there and could have helped out Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble and chose not to, but yet he was on Roman Reigns' side when Roman Reigns needed him. So Kevin Owens threw that in his face. And look, Kevin Owens was not lying here, Robin. I do feel like he made a pretty good case for himself where I thought, you know what? If I was Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes was supposed to be my friend, I would kind of be a little bit pissed off about that too. 1000%. So I liked what we saw here with the Cody Carmelo match. I like to see Cody in one-on-one matches that, we don't get to see very often on SmackDown. And then two, I liked that Kevin Owens made a whole lot of sense once again in his promos.
Yeah, it's kind of the, reminiscent of Drew McIntyre in a way where Drew kept feeling like he was getting screwed, and you're kind of like, well, yeah, he might kind of be getting screwed. And then he, went off the deep end awry with that. This is a little different, but it gives me those sort of vibes where Kevin, you understand why Kevin Owens feels justified, even though that justification has led him to mania.
Yeah, no, it's true though. It's true. And I'm so glad that you mentioned the parallels with Drew McIntyre, because that is exactly what made that CM Punk Drew McIntyre feud a little bit more lovable, was the fact that you were like, shit, you know what? I'm kind of siding with Drew McIntyre. And in this chat, I know for a fact, just talking to people overall, Robin, with regards to the Cody and Kevin Owens storyline, like there are people that are siding completely with Kevin Owens, and then there's other people that are like, I'm with Cody, but Kevin Owens is also making sense. Like, I don't think anyone here feels like Kevin Owens has not brought up some good points at one point or another. Alrighty, let's go ahead and continue on. I want to get into the Jey Uso Jacob Fatu match, because that is what closed out the main event of SmackDown here tonight. Both sides, by the way, from War Games were banned from ringside. Thank you so much to Nick Aldis. He's a smart GM, like him as a GM. This was a fun match. The crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." We got to see Jacob Fatu hit some of his little agile moves where he did like this springboard into a standing moonsault that everybody was like, oh shit. I'm not so sure if he's done that here in WWE already. but it definitely got a really nice reaction for sure. Samoan Spike onto the commentary table to Jey Uso, but eventually we do end up seeing Jacob Fatu get the win. So we're seeing the heels, the new bloodline, going into War Games with the advantage, and I love that. I always love when the heels go into War Games with the advantage. I just think it tells a better story.
Well, and look, we're still in protecting Jacob Fatu mode, right? Like he has that aura of invincibility. And Jey Uso, I mean, other than that Intercontinental title run, he's done a lot to help other people in this route with his popularity. Because I mentioned this to my son when we were watching. I was like, "Oh, clean," and he said, "What did you mean by clean?" I was like, "Oh, no interference. Nobody came and cost him. You know, it was just Jacob Fatu beat him clean in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3, with his arsenal of moves, which keeps that aura of Jacob Fatu going, which then carries over into the War Games match because when Jacob Fatu enters, you're like, oh, here he comes, the Samoan Werewolf, which keeps that going toward when he eventually has a confrontation with Roman Reigns one-on-one. You know, it's protecting what they've built with Jacob Fatu in a short period of time.
No, that is true. And I feel like I've been saying this like a whole bunch, but there's still a long laundry list, Robin, of people that I want to see Jacob Fatu face. And Jey Uso was definitely one of them. Having the singles match was so much fun. And there's still so many more that I want to see him hit. I like him getting these wins. I like him being the one to get. I kind of felt like going into the match, I had a feeling he was going to win. Like you said, they're still building him up. There's still that aura. The people are in awe of him. And I just kind of feel like it was the right direction to go. Anthony Giuliano sends in a super chat saying they said Bianca doesn't like Jade because she's holding her down in the tag team division. Jade's gear and Bianca is not in the main event scene. Look, again, this to me just sounds like a rumor. I don't believe everything that I see online unless it comes from certain places. So that's just my take on that. Honestly, I don't really buy into that.
Yeah, I mean, who is they? That's, you know, generally you need to know, you know, who the person's, because I'll tell you, and this happens. So, Denise, you know, I cover women's basketball, right? There are heavy YouTube accounts that have just completely made things up that have wound up getting hundreds of thousands of views. And then people believe, like one of them is that Caitlin
it happens in wrestling too. There was some bad ones the other day that I actually messaged someone. I'm not going to say which outlet, but it was one of those big outlets that does a lot of clickbait. I'm sure wrestling fans can put 2 and 2 together. Yeah. I reached out to them and I sent them a screenshot and I said, hey, look at what you guys are sharing. Like, this is really bad. Like, someone needs to take this down because there are thousands of people buying this. Yeah. And this wasn't a storyline thing. Like, this was something totally just very, very inappropriate.
Yeah, so I'm sure that. But, you know, you've seen... my uncle asked me about, is Caitlin Clark quitting to go to Europe? No. Is Angel Reese kicked out of the league because she's on steroids? No. Like, these are things that somebody spreads and that's to the internet. Like, if people put it on a graphic or a meme, they'll believe anything. Vince McMahon has returned to president. They'll put a quote, right? Like, they'll just make up a quote. Now that Trump's in office, Vince is back, you know, and that's the quote on the thing. And people will post it on their Facebook and share it and share it and share it. And so, just a piece of advice. I know you like to run with and discuss the crazy stuff and whatever, but always just do the one extra click or, you know, take the one extra second to make sure you know where that initial thing you're seeing actually came from or not.
Right. I feel like I see it a lot on Facebook and I see it a lot on TikTok. Facebook and TikTok, I would say, have the most accounts lying about things. And there's some where I'm like, that could be... like, that's not a bad lie. I know it's a lie, but it's not a bad lie. And then there's some that are just like outright really bad. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, how do you go out and put this out there? But no one's, you know, it's very easy to get away with that. It really is. Unless you're somebody that like really, I don't know how to explain it. For example, like Robin, if you have your page, which you do, you have your Facebook page, Robin Lundberg, right? It's your name. So you're not going to put any like bullshit on your page because that would look badly on you. Yeah. Now, let's say you had some random ass account, WNBA lovers 13 or whatever. And then all of a sudden, like, you wouldn't care what you're putting on there because no one would even know that that's you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's wild what people do though. Like, I found out the other day, there's someone on TikTok who is editing all my videos and posting them every day. Like,
what?
yeah. So they say like my podcast or whatever, but their profile photo is not me, but everything else is me. Like every upload.
Have you filed a copyright complaint?
Not yet. I guess I should, but I just, somebody sent it to me like, is this your TikTok? And I went, no. And they're like editing, and they're editing them not from the stuff that I'm already putting out. Like they're going into they're cutting vert edits of the long form things I'm doing.
You're like, they're doing my job for me.
Yeah, like I'll break you off a little something to actually put it on my.
Right. Hey, you want to cut some clips of mine? I'll hire you.
Yeah.
That's so weird. But I guess, I don't know. I guess it depends, right? Because some people are okay with that. Like they're okay with growing their accounts on lies or somebody else's work versus other people that actually care and know that there's repercussions to it. They're not going to want to do that. Like I would never want to do that because that's my name. That's my reputation on the line. So, and also if you have a brand, it's your brand's reputation on the line. So yeah, I mean, I think sometimes I like to say that I think for the most part, people know when something is a lie, but I have seen some stuff on Facebook where I'm like, how are people falling for this? And I go and I look at the engagement and it'll have thousands of likes, and I'll look at the comments and people are responding to fake news. And it's just very astonishing. But anyways, here we go. We got Terrence Johnson. Thank you so much, Terrence. He says, what are you guys expecting from the New Day 10th anniversary? I think we're expecting what everybody is expecting, which is the breakup, the sadness of the breakup between Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. I hope Big E is there. I feel like he should be, considering that's the New Day 10th anniversary. I feel like Big E should be there. Who knows? Maybe he'll even be there when the breakup happens, which I think he should.
I think Kofi should turn on Xavier Woods. Big E should join Kofi in stomping out Xavier Woods. And Big E should
so Big E heel turn? Because Xavier Woods to me is the heel in this.
No, I like going the other way. I make Kofi turn on Xavier Woods and Big E align with Xavier Woods as his heel manager.
I wouldn't want to boo Big E, especially with all the shit he's going through. Nuts. Oh my God, that would be so nuts. But okay, there we go, Terrence. And gave you two totally different answers. Terrence, thank you so much for the super chat. All right, and I think I kind of went through everything. Actually, there's two more things to get into for SmackDown, so we'll just get right through them really quickly. But we had Tommaso Ciampa basically telling Johnny Gargano that he doesn't want to be a loser. He does not want to be a loser at all. And he's telling Johnny, hey, you got 1 week to basically figure out what you want to do. And if you don't figure it out, we're going to do things my way.
I mean, look, they've been kind of going in that direction, right? To eventually, there's a lot of seeds of breakups and turns and everything so far. There's another one on a smaller scale, I think.
Yeah. Alrighty. Last thing we need to get into, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Andrade. The big thing that happened here was obviously Shinsuke Nakamura defeats Andrade, so they kind of just fed Andrade to him so he can get a victory ahead of Survivor Series. But on top of that, Shinsuke Nakamura hits his mist on LA Knight, and LA Knight gets misted all with black mist. Did you like this, Robin?
I kind of did. And look, Shinsuke, I think I talked about this. I couldn't remember the last time he won a match. So, I mean, it doesn't really do much for the long-term prospects, but at least going into War Games, it's like, okay, the guy, is coming off of a win. You're building them up a little bit for the purposes of what you're doing here. And the mist thing always works in the context of that. Like, it's just such a good visual that you don't see that often. Like, you've seen it enough over the years from not only just Shinsuke, but, before him. And you've seen it enough where you have like the mist, but it's not overdone. So it still feels like something that happened.
Yeah, I just wish it didn't happen so fast because I didn't even see it until LA Knight fell backwards and then I saw it on his face. Like, I didn't actually see when Shinsuke did it because it didn't have like a big splatter or anything like that. And so it just kind of felt like it happened so fast and it wasn't as explosive as we usually see when the mist is. Like, we usually see it like the whole spray coming out. We didn't really see it with this one until LA Knight obviously showed his face. But yeah, that's where we're at with this. Alrighty, so Tomorrow, guys, is Survivor Series War Games. We got 5 matches, of course, that we're going to be watching. Really quickly, Robin, let's do some quick winner predictions for Survivor Series. Tomorrow, of course, Robin and I will be here to do a post show. I'll be here to do a watch along. So it'll be watch along, and then Robin will join me for the post show tomorrow for Survivor Series. All right, here we go. Intercontinental Championship match. Braun Breaker versus Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser. Who do you got, Robin?
Braun Breaker. I think they've done too much to build him up too fast to not keep that going.
I second you. I also think Braun Breaker will retain. Next match, United States Championship, LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
LA Knight.
I also got an LA Knight. I don't want to see Shinsuke Nakamura defeat him. Women's War Game match, Rhea Ripley, Bianca, Bayley, Naomi, Io versus Liv, Nia, Raquel, Tiffany, and Candice. Who do you got?
I'm going to go with the Liv team. Because I flipped in the other one. So I don't see both babyface bloodline or both babyface War Games teams winning or both heel teams winning. And I've changed my mind on the other one. So I'll go with the heel women.
All right. So I didn't change my mind on the men's one because I was always going for Roman's team. And so, yes, because I'm expecting the baby faces and the men's to win, I'm going also with Team Liv Morgan for the War Games match, because I do second you on that. I don't think they'll do 2 babyface teams winning for this particular War Games. So World Heavyweight Championship, Gunther versus Damian Priest. Who do you got?
I mean, I probably think Gunther, but I'm going to say Damian Priest just to so we're not on the same page on everyone, and we need a little bit of a surprise, right? So it's not out of the question.
I'm sticking with Gunther because I'm expecting to see Gunther versus CM Punk at some point for that World Heavyweight Championship. So that's why I'm going with Gunther. And then last but not least, I just said it. You just said it. You switched over to Roman Reigns' team.
Because of the Punk Roman promo tonight. That's why. Because I feel like the way that was set up, they win, but then you put the friction in right after they win. At first, I thought Seth Rollins might come out and cost them, and maybe that still happens because I could see that happening. But the way that was done tonight, I kind of wonder if that alliance works for that one match, but then they immediately, put the friction into the alliance that lets you know that was a one-night affair that's building towards more than that.
All right. I've been Team Roman the whole time, guys. I do not want to see them lose to Solo's team. All right. I'm sorry. As much as I love Jacob Fatu and Bronson Reed and all of that, Team Roman for sure. Alrighty, everyone. Well, there you guys have it. That was our Friday night SmackDown post show. Again, do not forget, tomorrow I will be back. War Games watch along. Robin and I will be doing a War Games post show. Do not forget to subscribe. There's a lot of exciting stuff coming to the channel starting next month. So really just in a couple of days. Really quickly, December 1st, I start WrestleMyth. December 1st through December 31st, you will be seeing a daily video drop here on the channel. Please come out and support and watch those videos. They are going to be a lot of work to do. And then December 2nd, that is when I begin my Raw post shows here on my own channel with Santi Zapp, who will be my co-host for that. So make sure you guys start tuning in December 2nd for that. Alrighty, Robin, what do you got going on?
I'll see y'all tomorrow of War Games. I'll plug stuff.
Alrighty. Thank you guys so much. Keep enjoying your holidays, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye, everyone.
Yeet.